Welcome back to the Vibes by Alicia podcast. I am so grateful that you're here because I designed this podcast to empower all of you to be so inspirational that other people crave your vibes. And I'm so ready for this episode, you guys, because everybody's always asking me about our real estate, what we do when we do investment properties, when we do flips, or when we're doing rentals. I mean, people always have questions. And so today I am so grateful to be here with our real estate guy, Elmer Garcia. Welcome to the podcast, Elmer. I think people know a lot about you by now because we're always promoting you every single episode. Everybody knows who you are and what you do for us, because honestly, seriously, not many people can hang with us. And you are one of those people that can. And awesome. I'm so grateful for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I think Elmer's the only person that can hang with us.
I think so, maybe.
Else has already fired us.
And so, yeah, the episode today is the funny, the bad, and the crazy in selling and buying real estate. Because, y'all, we have stories.
Yes, we do.
We do have some stories.
We have plenty of stories.
Yeah. Russ got started on the stories 30 minutes ago. And I'm like, save the stories for the episode.
Well,
you can't help yourself.
I can't help myself. I never follow the rules. I don't follow directions.
You need to start.
My own rules, my own
At some point, you need to start following.
But I got Elmer warmed up. He's ready to go. Not that Elmer needs much warming up, because he's like 0 to 60 within like half a second.
That's right.
Yeah, and our journey in real estate started in 2020. COVID kind of threw us in, and Rusk and I were, I think it was probably March or April. No. It was June 2020. And we were just looking at each other and we were like, oh my God, I am so bored. What can we do to pass time? This is ridiculous. We couldn't be at home. We're both actually movers. Like we need to be moving and doing stuff, Elmer. Like we could not be at home in bed watching Netflix all day.
So you're just like me though. So
we're the same.
I've been in real estate going on 5 years, correct? And then I actually started real estate pre-COVID, and then COVID hit. And just like you, right? COVID hit, everybody's like, oh my God, you got to be careful. You can't go out there helping your clients. You can't go out there because COVID's out there. But I was just like, I have to be out there showing homes. I have to be out there helping people. Of course, being cautious with COVID and all. But yeah,
of course.
I'm just like you guys. I just can't stay still. I can't stay home. So I got to be out there doing something.
Exactly. And I think
definitely.
We just looked at each other like, this is crazy. We're driving each other crazy. So let's preface all of that and say that for the 22 years before that, Rusk and I were on the go for like intense on the go for 15, 16 years of our marriage. I think it was on the go and putting in 60 hours a week sometimes. Like it was nuts. It was crazy. I had my store and my store just took up my time. I was at the store probably from like 9 a.m. in the morning to like 9 p.m. sometimes with events and classes. So for us to not be doing anything, it was driving us insane, and we were just driving each other crazy. And I think you're the one that first said, what if we go out and look for a property and let's try to flip?
Yeah, it was because, the COVID year wasn't necessarily that bad, but we did need to find something to do. I remember in 2022, last year was actually probably our worst year.
Yeah, no, but how we got started in 2020.
Right. We decided just to flip houses. It was actually in 2019.
Oh, it's 2019.
Yeah.
When?
Right at the end of 2019.
December 2019.
That's when we started, but we finally started our first project.
Really getting into it.
In the early spring of 2020.
Just imagine, though, you're starting your first real estate project, then COVID hits, and then you're like,
yes,
what do we do now? So that's pretty amazing that you guys stuck through all that, and now look where we're at now.
You were a realtor for a few years before that, before COVID, like 2 years, right? Because you did 5 years now?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So then COVID hits, and then you kind of, the market was a little stable prior to COVID, and then it kind of just like went off the deep end,
so definitely right. So I've been blessed that I've actually have been busy since I started real estate. Everything's going good, the business is going good, and then here comes that monkey wrench, COVID. I'm like, oh my God, my business, where is it going to go? We didn't know where it was going to go. Was it going to be good? Was it bad? What are we going to do? But nobody knew. Little did we know. Those were some of the busiest times of my life.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, we all know what happened during COVID. Rates went down. People started on a buying frenzy. So, COVID to me was one of those craziest, busiest times of my life. So
those 2 years in terms of sales, how much did the sales improve over 2020, 2021?
Oh man, drastically. So I believe if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it doubled. It
Doubled, wow.
It doubled.
Right.
It doubled.
For you personally.
Personally, yes,
Yeah,
personally. Because
right.
remember, I am a solo agent, which
Right.
one of the things I was going to mention here within the podcast, I do have a team now.
You do?
I do have a team
Fantastic.
now.
Yes,
I was a solo agent. I was a solo agent
back then, right?
And I have a team. But yes, I was a solo agent, and I believe I closed. I think it was like 19 or 20 transactions in 19, and then 20 I closed 21 or 22.
21, right.
And then last year in 2022, I closed 33 transactions.
Wow, that's fantastic.
For a lot
that's
of people,
amazing.
that might not seem a lot, but for a solo agent like myself, 33 transactions myself, that was pretty busy.
Well, I think like 90% of realtors close less than five transactions a year. Because there's like 40 or 45,000 realtors in Houston. And I remember reading even 5% of on top of that don't even do one transaction a year, right? So I mean, to do 30 transactions a year, I think you're probably in the top 1 or 2% of realtors.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say, right?
I actually am. I actually was I was like, I wonder where I'm at. And I actually did the research, and yes, I am actually in the top percent of realtors here in Houston.
That's fantastic. So how do you get a team? How does that work? Because I know.
Yeah, we see that all the time.
We see that all the time. Do you have to sell a certain amount of properties for the brokerage to subsidize a team for you? Because that's not all coming out of your pocket, is it?
No. So there's different ways you can build a team. Yes, you can go ahead and actually get your broker's license and go on your own and build your team that way. And then at that point, yes, everything will be on your cost, your dime.
Sure.
You're doing everything. But if you build a team within your brokerage that you
Right.
currently have, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Responsibility still lies on the main broker. All I do is actually build a team, get my team name, which I have one yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
And we have different agreements. With the brokerage has an agreement with the agents, then the agents have an agreement separately with me that are under my team, right? And the reason why I decided to build the team is because, as you guys know, I love helping people.
Yeah.
All through my career as an agent, people would always call me, Elmer, can you help me? Elmer, can you do this? I'm always happy to help people. And then my wife, being the go-getter, and she's always pushing me to strive better for myself. Elmer, why don't you just start a team?
What a wonderful partner to have, because that's a great thing to have as a partner.
That's what I'm trying to get at. How do you start a team?
Well, that's what I was going to say. So basically, if you're going to start a team within your own brokerage, it doesn't really take much because, again, I'm not taking on the big responsibility as I'm the main broker. I'm just a team lead within my brokerage. Okay, right. So then I just need to have a different structure with my broker. Say, hey, look, this is going to be my team. This is how the commission structure.
This team is comprised of different agents, right?
Correct.
Let's say 3 or 4 agents.
Correct.
So they're typically less experienced than you.
Yes.
Right. So you're kind of like their mentor.
Correct. Right. But I'm not opposed to taking agents that are experienced as well, because what I want to do is I want to build different avenues of real estate. I want to do real estate. I want to do residential. I want to do commercial, even eventually getting into property management one day. Right. Those are different avenues.
Those are great goals.
Correct. But when it comes to residential, I love new green agents that don't know anything, because I feel like
they're malleable.
Correct. Well, that too, but a lot of agents have been
experienced agents more than you. They don't want to really listen to because they think they got
that. Right. But I feel like a lot of agents have been not trained properly, have not been trained the way they should have been trained. And they haven't just been given the tools that they need to be successful.
What does it mean to be trained properly? What are those traits? What does that look like?
Well, okay. So when I mean trained properly, there's certain things that you need to do to gain clients, how to lead generate, how to follow up with people, how to have great communication with people, how to do all these things. A lot of agents go to different brokerages because they promise them the stars, the skies, and the moon. Yeah. And when you're there, they don't really help you. Yeah. That happened.
Yeah, sink or swim.
That happened to me before, where I went to a particular brokerage. They promised me they were going to help me, they were going to guide me, and long and behold, taking a percentage of my commission never gave me that guidance or that help, right? So that's when I decided to go ahead and go on my own. I mean, obviously, I'm under my brokerage now, but I decided to build a team because I didn't want other agents to feel the same way I did. Of course, if you're coming into this industry, you need guidance.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You need someone to tell you, look, this is how you're going to lead generate, this is how you're going to get deals, this is how you're going to treat your clients, and this is what you're going to do to build your brand and your reputation. Yeah. So when I say training, I mean more of habits and things to do and not to do as an agent. Correct.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So Elmer, does it take a different sensibility to deal with investors as opposed to buyers?
Oh, yes.
So what are those differences? Like, what are the sensibilities? What are special skill sets it needs to be implemented or, executed in terms of a realtor?
Yeah, definitely. So when you're dealing with a buyer, right, it's just plain and simple. You have your criteria, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're looking in a certain area, 1-story, 2-story bedroom, so forth, and then you go out there and look for them, right? That's just plain and simple what every buyer wants to know.
Right.
The schools or whatever the preference they have.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to investors, you don't have that criteria. Your criteria is you got to make sure that whatever investment property you're buying is going to appreciate, is going to gain equity. You always want to buy as an investor. You want to buy in a location that you think is going to gain equity.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if you know of East End is building a brewery, or if you know that West U is going to have something coming, you as an agent working with investors, you have to be in the know-it-all because you have to jump on the opportunities before they flourish, right? That's how people gain equity.
Right.
Yes.
You jump into something before it becomes known to everyone. For example, I know now that within Fulshire and Brookshire towards Katy, there's new developments going out there. So now would be a good time for investors to go out there and invest before it becomes fully populated. Again, I've invested not invested, but I purchased my home 11 years ago out in Richmond. It has gained so much equity in the last 11 years. So those are the things that I, as an agent, need to keep in mind for investors, because investors want to make sure that whatever they buy appreciates and it gains equity as you're buying it.
Right. And as a buyer, I think it's important, as a buyer to know that our realtor knows those differences and is aware of those things and like can make sure that us as investors get the best deal.
Correct. Right. So yes, those same ideas as an investors can work for a buyer as well, because when you're buying a home, you got to remember buyers want to buy and they only have the buy in mind. But as a experienced realtor like me, there's certain things that you can look as a buyer that can benefit you when you're trying to sell that home later on down the road.
Sure.
For example, if you buy in a cul-de-sac street, that's a quieter, nicer street that actually gains value when you want to sell. Or if you're buying in a master plan community that has an elementary, has everything within that reach, that's a different value, right? So those are little key things that you can utilize for your potential buyers, but then it's a different whole set of things you got to look for when it's investors such as you guys.
Yeah. And I think that's the key. I think there's a sensibility.
Yes.
There's a nuance to everything, and there's a change in the way that we see things and the way we approach things. We just started a new property not far from our house.
Over there on the southwest side of town, there on the BeachNet Eldridge.
Yeah. And honestly, 2022 was a year that we didn't do anything because I think it was a year that was just really rough in terms of like trying to sell.
Well, interest rates were going up, and we were kind of still involved in the commercial side a little bit.
Because 2020 was amazing. It was one of the best years that we've ever done. Yeah. And when we started in June 2020, we had properties kind of lined up.
We had some bad experiences a little bit in 2021. We had a downtown property that didn't want to sell.
Yeah, so talk about that bad experience.
So Alicia and I are the type of kind of people that we just kind of try to have all our ducks in order, and we try to cover all angles. And I think we got a little carried away. We got some success heading into that downtown property, and we didn't cross all our T's and dot all our I's. And we were, back then, the realtor that we knew warned us about that particular street.
Let me just return to that, because by then we had already sold a few properties that we have flipped. Southwest Houston, 59 South.
Right.
And then another one in
West Houston by Highway 6.
Houston, Highway 6.
And then we had some success in the commercial side.
So we had some success, and we were like at a high.
Right.
And then we encountered this property in downtown.
Right. So we everything was kind of moving really smooth, and we weren't really having any hiccups down the road. And we came across this property in downtown, and it was on a cul-de-sac. It's in the
north side.
Near North Side Village, off of 45 in Maine, and there was a lot of great potential out there in that particular neighborhood. But we just happened to pick a street that had a cul-de-sac, and it was kind of a dead end. And then there was, at the beginning of the street, there was a neighbor that was, this huge, I'm talking like 600-pound guy that was all constantly eating nuts all the time.
And sitting outside every time
on
we
his
would
porch,
walk.
and he was just and he was throwing the shells of those pistachios on the floor. And I said, I just couldn't wrap my head how I was going to get around the marketing. But so we were already into the house, and I didn't see that guy when we had bought the house.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do a house on that side of town. We wanted to do something different from more of the mid-century cookie cutter kind of houses, right? Not that the house we do were cookie, but this one is kind of, that neighborhood dates back to 1930s or 1920s. And that house got us into trouble, and we just couldn't find a buyer. It was a very niche market that was interested in that particular property. And then after, remodeling, rehabbing it, and then we had that February storm, pipes busted.
Right.
So,
and we had to go back and fix all of that.
Right.
And then fix sheetrock that was already up, that was already in on the roof.
Right.
And then
so we had to go back and do it a second time.
February 2021.
So that added to the budget. And, then now we're squeezing on the margins of what we can get for the house.
Yeah.
So we decided, we tried it for a few months over the summer, got a whole bunch of complaints, not about the house, not about, the quality of the workmanship, but it was about the street.
The street.
And
the neighbor down the street with the
street
nuts.
number
with
the
his,
nuts.
With his pistachios all over the place.
And on top of that, the street was very narrow. 2 cars can't really pass. And then trying to get into that deal. And we should have known better. And we just kind of bit more off than we can chew. But anyways, it worked out. And
but I think a part of it, Elmer, honestly, is because that's the neighborhood I grew up in. So I told Russ, I said, I want to come back and really fix these houses in this neighborhood because they're great. Like the house I grew up in was built in 1921. And when we sold it in 1997, we sold it for $35,000 and we moved to Spring Branch. Okay. So now the person who owns our house, he's trying to sell it for what, $250,000, almost $300,000 because it's a very gentrified section of the north side. So everybody's kind of coming in and wanting to like tear down, build on top of that land because it's literally central. Like everything is around it. It's a great location. But we sold that house in 1997 for $35,000.
So is it safe to say that you actually let the emotions get you?
I did.
And that's one thing working with investors I have learned.
It was an emotional purchase for sure.
And yeah, definitely. That's one thing that you must and you should not include when you're your investor is add that emotion part to it. Yes, I understand you grew up in that neighborhood, but we live and we learn, right? We live and we learn.
Yeah, and I convinced Russ, and I said, Russ, this is the place. This neighborhood is amazing. It's the new Heights area, and which it is because it's a great location.
So, back to my original point, Alicia and I we got a little bit jaded from that particular property because we don't like losing at anything.
No.
We don't like failing at anything. We always like to win all the time. So, and some people just have, they just kind of
took a big L on that one.
We took a big L on that one, but it eventually worked out.
Big L.
We took a big L. We got rid of the property. We broke even on it. That's the only one that we've broken even on. All the other properties that we've done, we've made a nice check. Nice margin on the house, but that one we're just one of those people. We have extremely thick skin, but that one just kind of bugged us. Like it kind of deflated our ego there because I have a gigantic ego.
You're huge.
I have an ego.
This was the property that you guys said in 2020, right?
Yes.
This is the 2021.
Yes.
Yeah.
We started 2020.
Everything.
Yeah.
It was 2020, but it was cash flowing for about 6 months. The renters had moved out in February, so we started rehabbing it.
Okay.
For a while. They moved out, a couple in December, and then we started rehabbing. That's when the February storm hit, and that's when it kind of backed us up by about a month or so by the time insurance came out there and handled all that.
Yeah, so people think that, you're a flipper, you're making money, you're doing great, but honestly, it doesn't happen all the time, right, Elmer?
No,
it's not something that happens all the time.
No, it does not. And I know you're working with other investors as well. There's so many variables that can go your way or the other way. And one of the things that we've learned through past experiences is contractors make a deal. Contractors make the deal go south or north or good or bad, right? That's the good and bad, ugly of investing.
Talking about contractors, that contractor in that house was a pain in the ass. Like nothing has ever happened before.
Yeah.
So by the way, again, I just don't even, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus.
Let me just finish the story. Let me just, that contractor was a pain in the ass. He was a thief. he was hiring, shady people, but
I'm glad you're taking over because
because
really
he pitched us a good game.
Triggered right now.
And it seemed like it was going to work out. It was a good price, but it's every business. And I've been in business for 25 years. This is 24 to be exact. Has trials and tribulations, and it's always a learning curve.
Correct.
And no matter what I did, and no matter how successful I was in the other business, there's, this guy seemed like a trustworthy dude. He seemed like he had his ducks in order.
And he didn't.
And then there was a whole different character shift. It was like he flipped the switch the next day.
Awful.
And then it was just like this whole disaster of an operation.
And so we're like, like doing restrooms, and he's having a problem with our tiles. We're redoing the kitchen. He has a problem going under the house. Like there's so many things that he just could not say yes to.
The tiles weren't straight.
The tiles.
The sheetrock wasn't straight. It was a disaster.
Wow.
Our restroom, we had a beautiful restroom, coordinated, organized. We had bought the tile. Everything was beautiful. They did such a shitty job in that restroom that we had to tear it down and redo the whole restroom again. So, you think you're trusting someone who's from the neighborhood, because I wanted somebody who knew the neighborhood well and could like really come in and the other thing was like I wanted to help somebody from the neighborhood. I wanted to help somebody who I grew up with. This guy was our neighbor when I was growing up. So I wanted to help somebody, and I'm like, yeah, this guy, I want to help him. Let's hire him. Let's do something with him. Could not pull it together, had such a hard time communicating, wanted money in advance, wasn't doing the job. We're not giving you money in advance if you're not even fucking doing the job. Yeah. Like that's just ridiculous. Like where in your head does it happen?
You live and you learn, right? But I bet you anything right now, those mistakes will not happen to you guys now.
No, absolutely not. No,
not anymore. No.
That's the key is that you got to learn from your mistakes. I mean, it's the stuff you tell your kids, right? You got to shake things off and move on. It just took us a while in 2021 to shake it off. It's like we just need to take a break from this shit, and then we just kind of that's why we. But by time 2022, right? And that's why we took last year off. But towards the end of the year, Alicia and I are kind of like at each other's throats because all we're doing is traveling, drinking wine, gaining weight, and not really doing much. And I mean, we're exercising all the time. But
I think we gained like 25 pounds over COVID.
Well, it's not. Oh, yeah, it wasn't that.
No,
bad.
yeah, it was.
No, it was like 2022 is when we kind of
it was like 5 pounds. No, it's 25 pounds.
I know what I weighed before. It was like 10 pounds. Don't exaggerate.
And then 2022 is when we met. So then that's when everything started. So
right. Elmer shows up and he kind of makes everything go real smooth.
Hey, it takes a village.
That's what it is.
It takes a village. It takes a village.
And that's no kidding when I say Elmer showed up and it made things go a lot smoother. And now Elmer, now we have a property that we're working on, that southwest one that you had mentioned earlier. Has a little bit of a crooked, chimney. And I need to figure out how we're going to market that because I actually went to some back.
Funky chimney.
It's a funky chimney, but there's a couple of houses that have it, but they're just not at that degree, that angle, right?
But we drove around the neighborhood, and I even drove whenever you brought the question. I think it was me and Alicia were talking about it before me and you talked about it, and I told Alicia, "Look, I drove around the neighborhood, and I've noticed that that's just the design of this home. The chimneys are a little bit slanted."
Right. But those realtors, the buyers are going to want to roll in. They're going to say, "Well, what's up with that chimney?" And everyone's going to get spooked by it because everyone that's walked through that house has been picked up on that chimney. But if you look at it, the angle what the chimney sits on seems like it was intentionally designed that way. But the neighboring houses, they somewhat have an angle. They somewhat have that same degree of a pitch, but not the degree. The pitch is not as tilted to that.
As tilted as it is. Right. But again, that's the way that those houses in that year or that architect or builder built them.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
Oh, Santa's going to have a hard time going through that chimney.
Oh,
trying to get into the house. Poor Santa. He's going to get stuck on one of
He's going to get on a diet.
Friends, I want you to meet my favorite bilingual realtor, Elmer Garcia. You all know that a passion of mine is real estate investing, and having a great realtor by your side is essential. Elmer knows the city of Houston like the back of his hand, and not only is he highly regarded by his clients, but also by the professionals in his field. I can tell you from experience that he is attentive, trustworthy, thorough, and detail-oriented. He knows what I like, y'all, and seeks out opportunities for finding the right property for me. His services range from residential real estate to commercial and investment. He will guide you the entire way, I can tell you that. You can email him at elmerg.realtor@gmail.com or call him at 832-512-5752, or you can also find him on Instagram, Elmer Garcia _real estate. And don't forget, anything real estate is his forte. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about like a funny story that we have. So Elmer has helped us out secure a few rental properties.
Yes.
We have a few. What's that side of town? Cypher, maybe?
Elmer brings in great paying tenants, but man, they got personality.
Yeah. Okay, so
And
they're
the
great.
thing is, the tenants are from young newlyweds to
old and experienced,
old and experienced
divorcees.
But God, one thing that I know that Russ loves is they all pay on time.
They're great at that. But the other thing is,
I'm texting on the first day of the month if you're late.
Believe me, Russ will do that. He will do it.
No, he hasn't. So then, literally, the ladies, the ladies are like, "Oh, we're gonna be late. Forgive us. We're gonna be late for like a day or two." I'm like,
those are the human.
Fine. It's fine. It's no big deal. Whatever. But
you tell them it's fine. It's not fine.
Yeah, it is. I do tell them it's fine.
Not fine.
See, this is why the combination between he and I is so important.
It
is
but
because
he
is so strict about things.
I am the first. But
I'm very flexible because I know that community and I know they're going to pay. They're just going to take a day or two to pay their rent.
I am the first to collect.
You have to understand that life does happen. It's not that they don't want to pay. Sometimes they just
isn't that they don't want to pay. Exactly.
Remember that.
I understand that.
Okay,
but you can't take the foot off the pedal.
No,
Once you give them a day, then it's 2 days.
Yeah, exactly.
You give them 2 days, then it's 3.
And then they'll get used to it, and they will pay you to the 5th or the 6th. So that's when we have issues.
But we have these tenants that
they have to 11:59 p.m. of the first day of the month. Otherwise, they get a text on the second, 12:01 a.m.
No, but we have a few tenants that will text us all day, every day, and give us all the problems that are happening and everything that's going on in their life. And, we end up becoming kind of therapists, contractors. Like some of this, like,
oh yeah,
like
the lady with the Forest Hill house, the divorcee.
Oh,
remember her? She got thrown out. She left, and then her husband threw the clothes on the front door.
Yeah. Not a funny story, but it's one of those interesting stories, I guess you can say, right? Her and her son living in that house.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, I guess baby daddy comes back in the picture.
Yeah.
Lovely lady, wonderful lady, smart lady, but
wrong.
Wow.
And I want to preface this, guys. We're not talking about these people.
No.
We're just sharing our stories within our real estate experience.
Naming any names.
No, we're not. We're not naming names. But yes, that lovely lady lives with her son. I guess try to work it out with her ex-husband. Things didn't work out, and the next day you go drive by, and all of her clothes are right in front of her house,
right,
for everybody to see. I was like, "What is going on in here?" But the good thing is, though, we've built great relationship with all of our tenants. You guys have,
important.
I have, and I think that's a key that they feel like they can text us, they can call us, and let us know. Because one of the first things she did was she actually let us know what was going on. Instead of you going out there and finding out, what's going on? She actually texted us. She advises of such. So. Not a funny story, but it's one of those interesting stories, I guess you could say, with her.
It is. And I think one of the things that we've discovered as we've been tenants of few properties is that we have to keep an open mind on everybody's lifestyle.
Yes, right. That's what I was going to mention right now is that, we always wonder why people are renters, right?
Right.
Because, renting is ultimately in the day throwing away money.
Of course.
If you can afford $1,600 rent, I said, why not just do $1,900 in a mortgage or something like that? Build some equity, sell the house. I get it. There's transition workers that come here for 1 or 2 years. That doesn't really make any sense. But then there's people that have, issues like this, and they're just trying to get away from a bad situation, a bad relationship. That,
or some people are just they don't want to deal with the responsibilities of owning a home. You have to understand, owning a home, it's got to maintain the home. You just can't live in it. You got to maintain the air filter. You got to maintain the roof. The grass, you got to maintain all these things. I'm not saying that these tenants don't have to cut the grass, but they don't want to deal with, my toilet is clogged or my shower head is broken, or whatever it is. They want to just be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, this is not working, come fix it. Here's the reason why you have people that will rent an apartment for 20 years, 15 years.
Tell them the truth, Elmer. On that one house where the shower was broken, what was your first thought?
That they actually had yanked it and pulled it off themselves.
You. Right, yeah. That was my first thought, too.
How does a shower head fall off? It can't fall off unless you're hanging on it or
I thought she was beating her husband with it or something in the shower.
Something happened. Or maybe something that we shouldn't discuss on this podcast was going on in that shower. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't a wear and tear type thing.
It wasn't, right.
No. But yeah, so
of course the plumber comes in and says, "Oh, that's normal."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I've never seen that before. But then again, I'm not a plumber.
But but those stories that's the story that makes it fun and interesting. And seriously, people who want to get into this and want to do this and maybe want to flip houses and rental house. Yeah.
I mean, just real estate in general. I think that's that's one of the reasons why I love thoroughly what I do, is because every day you're in this, it's not the same. Every day you're going to experience people of different walks of life. People that are buying a home that's $150,000 to someone that's buying $1 million home, right? And that's what I thoroughly enjoy. I deal with different people of different walks of life that speak different languages. A majority of my clientele, so Latinos.
So Elmer, is the $1 million client a bigger pain in the ass than the $150,000 client, or the other way around?
Okay, so yes and no, because I actually currently do have a $1 million listing, and this is the sweetest couple that I've known. But I think in order for your client not to become a pain, like you're mentioning, have to educate your client about the listing itself. You have to understand that a $350,000 home, a $350,000 home is gonna have different challenges than a $1.2 million home. You have to understand 1 million or 2 million, 3 million. I consider that more of a niche market, which is a luxury market, right?
Right.
Those homes tend to stay in the market a little bit longer. Therefore, you have to educate your client. Tell them, look, you have to understand this. We're going to list your home. We're going to do everything we can to make sure we market your home properly, sending email blasts, circle prospecting.
Right.
You're going to do open houses. You're going to feature it in different types of marketing campaigns that you do. But at the end of the day, it is going to take a little bit longer than a $250 or $350 home. So I think it's not, yes, it's different struggles. But I think it all just comes down to the realtor and how you educate your clients.
What's the greatest struggle? What's the greatest, craziest story that you've had from a client where it's like, well, this is absolutely impossible to deal with, or these folks are just like they're off, because we watch these real estate shows and you get these people.
We love those shows.
And I mean, these clients are such pain in the asses. They're so delusional. People always think their houses are worth more than everybody else's house in the same street.
Like we said last time, right?
And the realtor always walks in there and says, I don't know, well, the comps are selling for $9 million, but you want to sell for $12 million. You're not going to get $12 million. They don't want to hear it because they think they're special.
Yeah. Okay. So again, right, like I said last time, we love these shows, right? But we have to understand in prefaces, these shows are actual TV shows. They don't depict the real life of a real estate agent. And even when listing or buying a home, right? Again, I go back to educating your client and make sure they understand what they're dealing with when it comes to different type of price of homes. But the craziest thing that I've dealt with, I guess your question was, what's the craziest thing I've dealt with before, right? In real estate?
Yeah.
So an example, I actually did a double-ended transaction one time. Double-ended.
You represent the buyer and seller.
Yes. So I represented the seller on a listing, and I was representing him on the buy of another property. So we needed to sell this property in order to buy this property.
Yeah, right.
I've done these.
A contingency deal.
Correct. A contingency deal. We got to buy this house and the contingency that this was going to sell. I've done these multiple times.
Those can be a pain in the ass.
They can be.
In terms of timing, right?
Well, they can be, but if you manage it correctly, it's not that difficult.
So what was challenging about this one?
The challenging about this one was the lender. The lender. Exactly.
So what did the lender do?
What happened is, I actually have a lender that I actually was referred to. This was a special case because this client of mine, like you guys know, most of my clients, they're Latinos. They actually make great money, but they have I-10. They're I-10 holders. I-10 holders require a particular type of loan. So only certain lenders around town would do these type of loans.
What's an I-10 holder? What is that?
I-10 holder is...
I'm thinking of the freeway.
No. I-10, I-T-I-N. It's basically
ITIN.
Right.
The tax number.
Correct. Right. That the government gives you so you can file the
EITN. All right.
I-10.
Yeah, that's what you guys. Is that short in realtor vernacular? What?
No, I-10.
Oh, okay. I've always called it EITN.
So it was one of these loans, right? So only particular loan officers deal with these type of loans. So I spoken to this loan officer. Had promised me that, yes, we can do this type of loan. Yes, we can do this loan. So I actually trusted this loan officer that he was going to get it done.
Yep.
Here we go. We list the gentleman's house. We put it on the market. Beautiful home out in Tomball, Texas. Beautiful home. We listed. Gentleman is a general contractor. Everything in the house is fully upgraded. It has quartz countertops, back patio covered, gas grill. Goes on the market quickly.
Yeah.
full ask price.
Okay.
We get it. So obviously we have to disclose to the buyer
Mm-hmm.
this house. We are going to go ahead and sell this, but we're buying this one. So we need a lease back. A transaction in
Right.
real estate takes between 30 and 45 days
Mhm.
to
Sure.
close.
Right.
Mhm.
But
Unless you're me.
yeah, you want to close in 15, 20 days, 21 days.
No,
So-
15 minutes.
No, 15 minutes. Oh, I forgot. That's right. You're okay. I apologize.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So we have 30 days to close the transaction. We get a lease back for 30 more days.
Right.
That means we have 60 days. So here we go. We get this house under contract. The lender, again, I'm always on top of lender. You sure you can do this loan? You sure?
Yeah.
Because this loan depended on the buy of another house. So he says, yeah, we can do it. So we got under contract with this one. We go out looking for another property that my client wants. We get this one under contract. So
Mhm.
now we have the sale of his house under contract, and we have the buy of the home that he wants under contract. Here we go. We close on the sale of his home. Docs are signed at the title company.
Yep.
Now we have 30-day lease back.
Mhm.
These 30 days are going to be for the buy of the new property with this lender.
Mhm.
All throughout the whole transaction.
Mhm.
Lenders promise me,
Gotcha.
promise me, we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
A week before, we're going to close on the new transaction. Lender calls and say, we're having an issue. Underwriting just cannot approve it because
Oh.
he has an I-10 and his work permit just gave me every excuse on the book. What ends up happening? We lose the earnest money for the house we're going to buy,
Mm.
and my clients are now homeless.
Holy shit.
Homeless.
But
So
didn't they do a lease back on the house they're buying?
for 30 days.
Yeah.
Remember, so we closed on the
Yeah.
first one for 30 days. We got 30-day lease back.
Mhm.
The gentleman that bought his house, he
Mhm.
wants to move into his house.
Right.
30-day lease
Yeah,
back.
because they already closed on it,
We
right.
closed on that. Technically is
But
not.
is this the same lender doing both transactions?
No,
Oh,
because
that's
remember,
the-
I represent the listing on this one.
Right.
I don't know the lender on the buy. The buy was a different lender.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
taking care of the buy for my
Mm.
listing client.
That's where the
So
disconnect is.
when we're talking about the ugly side of
Mhm,
real estate,
mhm.
this is the ugliest I've ever experienced because as a realtor, I pride myself in making sure that everything goes smoothly in a transaction.
Right.
And we've done transactions before. You know, I'm on
Mhm,
top of
mhm.
everything.
Yeah.
I'm calling title company, make sure title is
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah.
I call my lender, make
That's
sure
why we
everything's
love you,
good.
Elmer.
Yes, you're always on
and
yeah.
That's why you're our man.
we have to make sure that everything goes the way that it
Mhm.
needs to go. And needless to say, you know, it's just they were homeless. Luckily, they had family here in town that they were able to live in. They were able to move in with them. And then I looked for another lender and we finally found a home and they moved in. But yeah, that
Wow.
is the ugliest experience I've ever had with
So what
real
was the
estate.
issue with the lender? That they were backing out. They were saying they had an issue. I mean, there's a disconnect there between
Okay,
the
so-
intent number.
I'm gonna make a very long story short here.
Yeah.
Every time people actually that have I-10 holders, they have work permits.
Mhm.
Work permits are issued by the government. You know that, right? Certain countries, Honduras, El Salvador, Costa Rica, these permits actually, because of COVID, got renewed automatically. Automatically got renewed. If you go on the website, it
You
says
couldn't travel to go fix it.
correct. Therefore, they had an expired work permit.
Right.
Mhm.
But this was told to the lender, hey, I-10 holder or ITIN, how would you like to call it, it has a work permit, it's expired, but here is the webpage in the government that says this has been extended for 2 more years.
Yeah.
All this was given to the lender. And he said, yes, we can do it. But a week or two before closing,
Underwriting.
the underwriting had an issue
The pencil
with
pusher in the back.
correct.
The bald
Had an
guy with
issue. Had an issue with the work permit being expired. Although we had the letter stating that these were already
Right. But they're making exceptions for the expiration.
correct,
Right.
but they couldn't do it. They wouldn't do it.
Because they had to have the oh my god.
Yes, so
So
that
they can't adjust to the current world at that time.
correct,
Right.
correct.
Everything shut down. Everything flipped
changed.
upside
Correct.
down. Right.
Everything changed
Right.
for these people. Yes, typically you renew your work permit, you get it in the mail a month later.
Yeah.
But with COVID, everyone just shut down for so long, so everyone's behind on getting these work permits because of that. But the thing that frustrated me the most was this was told to this lender. So yes, guys, you know you see.
Well, the salesman, the loan officer, and the back officer are obviously
Oh.
always two different people. And the guy selling you the loan and the guy in the back actually guaranteeing the loan, you know,
It's
that
different
is
person.
different. It's a different person. It's a different
person.
personality too,
right,
because his ass is on the line if the loan doesn't go through.
correct.
And I think at that time during COVID, so many loans were coming through because the market
Yes.
was so super hot.
Yes.
It was easy for him to throw one out because so
Correct.
much.
Correct.
today, I bet you he would have taken that loan. Even if the
100%.
rules were the same, because now
100%.
because now we have friends that are loan officers. They're all dying for work.
Exactly. Now they're asking people for loans. Send me a loan. Send me a loan. Back then, they had a plethora of loans. They were closing 10, 20, 30 loans a month. Now that they don't have one, they wish they had this one back. But at the end of the day, right, this goes to show that, one thing that people always have this mentality that real estate agents don't do work and they get paid too much. This right here,
that's mostly the case, Elmer. But you, Elmer, you're an exception to that.
But the thing is, a lot of people don't understand that there's so much that goes on behind closed doors that clients will never know that is happening. But we as agents, or I like to say me as an agent, have to make sure things get done in order for you to have your key. You have your little closing sign, a title company, and you're happy to go. So that's just one thing that just bothers me when people say that agents get paid too much and they do nothing. I'm like, no, that's not true. We do so much more behind closed doors just to make sure that you do get to the closing table, that you do get your keys and you're happy with your home, right? So go back to the original question. That has been one of the
I think Elmer just plugged in all the realtors in Houston that don't do anything. So everyone needs to give Elmer, a high five and send him some business.
Oh no, definitely, man. The number one rule in
that's not our experience, but we don't deal with a lot of realtors. You deal with a lot more than I do.
And I think,
we've dealt with realtors who were not
right, but he does it with a lot more than we do. That's
definitely. I mean, how can you sell a home if you don't answer your phone?
Definitely have a realtor on your side that's gonna come in there that's definitely.
Man, it's a key. It's a key because
Yeah, it is. It's huge. It's huge plus.
Many people think that buying a home and selling a home is simple. It might be in general terms, but there's just so much that goes into that, right? You always want to have a second pair of eyes looking over everything you're doing. For a lot of people, you have to understand this is the biggest transaction they will ever do in their lives.
Yeah.
Why not have someone that is experienced, that knows what they're doing, to be that backup, to be that person to guide you and help you, right?
Yeah.
And I always tell people, right, real estate, we might post closings and we might post that we have listings, but one thing that I always like to say is people see the glory, but they don't see the story.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great way to put it.
You see the glory, but you don't see the story.
Yeah.
In order to see the glory, there's so much that goes to that story to get to that point. People just don't see it, and people assume,
I think that's just the philosophy in life in general.
Correct.
For a lot of people that are successful,
correct.
They don't see the backstory that gets them into the glory. They just see that there was one step, and then there was a step of success.
Correct.
From 1 to 10, they don't see what happened between 2 and 9.
Correct.
Right.
And that's one thing that I always tell people: look, you might see the glory, but you just do not know the story, right? But I think that just applies to
anything. It applies to anything.
Life, business, transactions. I mean, you see me, maybe I don't do it anymore, right? For that reason. But I used to post, handing a key to a client. And, like I said.
Why don't you do that anymore?
I don't like doing that anymore because people always see it as bragging or look at this guy always posting his closings, or look at this guy.
Yeah, but you're successful. So what's up with that?
And I understand that. But to me, I want to be successful by my numbers, by what I do, by referrals, by people that know that what I actually do in my job, right?
I mean, wouldn't you say that's kind of like rookie stuff? It's like the first 5 or 10 transactions when it gets old, right?
Correct.
I don't think more established realtors, they don't need to do that anymore.
No.
Like
and the other thing is, as an investor, as somebody who's on the buying side, we're not looking at that. We're not looking at what you're doing on social media and what you're doing on Instagram. What we're looking at is like, how fast are you getting back to us on a question?
Correct.
If we have a house in mind and we ask you about that house, how fast are you getting back to us? That's important.
Right.
Correct.
Not how many followers you have on Instagram. We don't give a shit about that. We don't give a shit how many postings you're doing on Instagram. Both of us, Rusk and I, don't care about that.
How many people follow you?
Or how many people follow you, or who you're, what organization you're part of.
We're looking for quality followers, not quantity.
We're looking for quality.
There are people that have 50,000 followers where 49,500
bots.
Are bots, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's bots.
Right.
Yes. They put their body out there and they're like thinking they're super cute and adorable. No, I don't give a shit about that.
We're looking for quality followers, because if we have 5,000 followers, but 100 of them call to action, 100 of them, do something, that's all we need. We don't need 100,000 followers. That's, because most of those people are they're just following you because they like your stuff,
Correct.
but they're not going to actually do anything for you or
Yeah.
with you.
No, and I think on the other side is, I see agents all the time posting their houses, posting their deals and who they're doing deals with. But honestly, guys, if you are wanting to attract investors and people that are serious about putting money into you, be a serious person on social. Be a person, be about it. Be a person that's posting quality content.
Meaningful.
Do not be posting selfies because we're not going to go with you. If we're looking at a house, we're definitely not going to go. We're going to go with somebody that's posting something that's of quality, of substance, that's posting photos of the property, not posting photos of themselves, that are posting photos of the area around there,
Correct.
things that are going on, the schools around there, what's the shopping, what's going on around that area.
What adds value to the property?
What is adding value?
So where we can resell the property.
Because you guys can be super cute and beautiful and gorgeous and adorable, but we're not going to give you business if you're not giving us a substance.
Correct.
If you're not backing up what you're doing.
And don't shove down properties our throat where very well we can't make money on. Do your research before you send us a property that there's actually margin to be had.
Correct.
And get to know the numbers of what construction costs. Go through the property itself because we'll make the transaction very easy. And as Elmer knows, we're 7-day closers. We're all cash. We'll throw it out there. We bear all the risk, but there has to be a margin for us. I mean, we're not greedy. We're not looking for 100% margin. We're looking for 10 to 12 to 15%, something reasonable. But it's quick turnaround. And it's not supposed to be, sexy. People get into this flipping and they get bogged down and the colors and all that kind of stuff. That's important too, but that's only 10% of the game. 90% of the game is getting the return on the, not the return on the investment, but the return on time. Because time is the component that goes into the equation that gets calculated into your ROI, into your IRR, into your NOI. It's all about the time. The faster you flip that property, the faster you can redeploy that capital. It's the opportunity cost of capital where you can do another project. You got to get your contractors lined up. You got to give them motivated. You got to give them bonuses. You got to give them deadlines. You got to tell them you got to do this, this, and this. Don't just and that's how you avoid all these mistakes. We've had realtors in the past. They just send us a property and then they'll give us some bullshit of ARV of like $200,000 over the price. I mean, it's not going to work out that way.
Of course.
No. I
do the research before.
Exactly. And like going back to, like you said, right, people posting stuff on Instagram or Facebook and all that. People will appreciate the quality of posts you do more than the quantity and how many you post a month. If you're educating your clients, if you're educating them, hey, you can buy this home with an FHA for this type of down payment, or if you do a conventional and you do this, I think giving people that knowledge and giving people the information they need to move forward or get off the fence on investing or getting off the fence of buying a home, right? A lot of people, and I'm going to speak to this because I'm a Latino. You're a Latina. You're a Latino.
Speak on it, Elmer.
You're a Latino.
Yeah.
You're a Latino too.
He's been married 22 years to me. He's definitely an honorary Latino.
I understand Spanish better than Alicia.
But one of the things that I'm very passionate about, and I'm gonna plug this in. I'm actually an incoming board member for NARP.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So NARP is the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals.
Yep.
And one of the things that we believe in is educating the Latino community and how to decrease that wealth gap within the Latino community through real estate. And Latinos do not buy homes or invest in homes, not because they don't want to. Believe me, they want to. They just do not know who to speak to, where to start, and how to do it. One of the things that I pride myself is making sure that I know different types of loan programs. How can I help you? If you only have an I-10 or you only have a work permit or you have a DACA, anybody can do a regular FHA or conventional loan. Anybody can do them. I can do them with my eyes closed and I don't have to do anything, right? But I'd rather do the other type of loans that the Latino community needs to get off their feet, to make sure they get this home and get their dream home that they've always wanted, right? Many people come to this country, the American dream. The American dream for a lot of these people is owning a home. If I can help you and educate you to buy $150,000 home, by God, I am going to do my best job even if it's 150, like if I would be doing it with a $2 million property.
Right.
To me, at the end of the day, your $150,000 home is everything to you, and that means everything to me, right? So you have to me, it's all about educating our people, educating them, telling them where to start, how to do it. And yes, you can do it. It's a matter of getting the right person, AKA the realtor, to guide you and tell you that it is possible. And one of our missions with NARP is educating the Latino community and letting them know, hey, look, you can go ahead and do it. We can teach you how to do it. There are so many programs that are out there for first-time home buyers, for people that want to buy in different areas. There's programs for people that are buying in neighborhoods that are up and coming. Some of these neighborhoods people don't want to buy in. There's different programs, correct? So that's one thing that I pride myself in, making sure that I know all of these programs so I can help all of my clients.
And you know what, Elmer, that's important because a lot of the people in our community are sold on the pipe dream. And so many of them fall for it, and they don't do their due diligence, and they don't confide in people that are not going to have their best interest at heart. And that's one of the things that happens so much in our community is like they will listen to somebody that gives them a call and they're like, I can do this, I can do that for you. And then it's a scam.
It is.
Right? And there's so many scammers out there. So it's so important that the people that have the right heart and the right mentality for it. But the other thing is, one of the things that keeps popping up in the community is generational wealth. And the way that you generate generational wealth is through buying property.
Correct. Through real estate. You got to minimize that generational gap of wealth from the Latino community to other different ethnicities, right? I think the Latinos, if we would help each other and educate each other, we can do it. And you can become a very successful, wealthy person in this country. If we all just put our minds together and help each other, it can be done. It can be done.
And if you're the kid of parents that are looking for a house or maybe to downsize, keep an eye on that. Guys, please keep an eye on that because there's so many people that are out there that are looking to capitalize on somebody that's naive and insecure or not confident enough about the purchase of a house. I know for us as a family, my brothers and my sisters, we're always keeping an eye on everything our parents are doing. Why? Because they're easily swayed into buying into the bullshit, you know? And so we have to keep an eye. I mean, there was a moment where my parents like bought into like a fucking a timeshare.
Right.
And they were so embarrassed. My mom would not tell me about the timeshare that she bought into because they wouldn't let her go to her hotel until she went through this timeshare thing in Dominican Republic. And oh my God, I was furious at that time when I found out, because not furious at her, because obviously she was bullied into it.
Actually pushed her into getting it.
I was furious because the people at the timeshare would not allow her to go to her hotel, which we had already booked ahead of time, because she did not go through the timeshare spiel, whatever the fuck that is.
Right, that 30-minute meeting.
Yeah, the 30-minute meeting, and then you can go to your hotel. And I was so furious, and I when the minute they got home, and my mom was just so embarrassed about it because she was so ashamed. I said, "Do not be ashamed. It happens to everybody. We're gonna get rid of this right now." And I called her bank. I called Chase. I called the people I knew at Chase, and I said, "You guys need to handle this for my mom because this is fraud." And they lied to her. They told her this before she could go to her hotel. She had to go through this stupid fucking ass program where she had to sign off on something. And they took her debit card, by the way. They took her freaking debit card. I was so fucking pissed because they were ready to charge $600, and they charged $600 on her debit card, which is coming out of her bank account, which, by the way, they're retired, so they're on fixed incomes. They don't have money coming in every month except for their Social Security. I was so pissed. I called Chase and I said, "You need to delete this immediately." Guys, we have to be on top of our parents because sometimes they will fall for that. And they fell for it because they thought they couldn't get to their hotel until they went through this stupid mechanism that they set up at the airport. You know, when you get to Cancun and you get to the Cabo, they're like fucking sharks. They swarm you. And my parents fell for it because they're older. They're in their 70s. They don't know any better. They're like, "Oh, okay, we'll go with you." They said to them, well, this hotel you're going to? Yeah, we're taking you to that hotel. You know what? They didn't take them to that hotel.
See,
they took them to another place.
And this goes to what we're saying right now. This goes to say exactly what we're saying right now. We want to make sure that we educate these people. We help these people through all these transactions. Your parents were done wrong by a timeshare thing. There's so many people that I've helped in my in my career that have been done wrong by so many so-called agents. One story I'm going to share with you now that you're mentioning about this. I helped a couple again. They were a 2 Honduran couple, the sweetest people you will ever meet in your life. If I see them, it's like I'm looking at my parents type people, right? I helped them. One thing that they came to me, they were pretty apprehensive about meeting with me and talking to me about real estate. Rightfully so, though. Once I found out their story, there was another agent that wanted to help them, and they told them, hey, you need at least $60,000 to get going with the house, which was, by the way, is untrue. Untrue. After we closed them and after we helped them, I think they ended up putting only $30,000. So where was the other $30,000 going to go? God knows, and whatever.
Their pocket.
Correct. Exactly. So my point is this, right? I pride myself in helping people. And honestly, I'm going to be quite honest with you guys. $1 million listing is good. I love it. Who doesn't, right? But my favorite transactions of all time have been the people that buy the $250,000 home, $300,000 home. Why? Because these are the people that work so hard to buy this home. And when they get that home, literally, I had this lady, the particular couple that I'm talking about, she was in tears when I handed her the key.
Right.
And she prayed in
First
front of me.
First time home buyer?
Oh, yeah. First time home buyer. She prayed. Very religious lady. She prayed in front of me. She says, Elmer, may God bless you, guide you. You've done so much for us. We never thought this was going to be possible for us. And at that time, I told my wife,
you're a great guy.
No, thank you.
Besides being a great realtor,
it's like I told my wife, these words mean much more than a commission to me. Mean more than a commission. You know, we all need the money to live, right? For our kids, to put a roof over the head. But those words, when she spoke them and told me that, I was like, wow, I'm in the right field. I'm doing what I need to be doing. It's just amazing. So you have the ugly and then you have the, oh my God, I love those transactions.
Those transactions, helping people out is always priceless. You can come through for people.
There's no price to that.
There's no price to that.
There's no price to that. And honestly, it's helping the people that have always had that dream in their head to own this property in the United States of America. And once they get to that point, it doesn't matter how much the property is. Honestly, for them, it's the fact that they own that property that makes them so proud.
Shelter psychological.
Alicia,
and that's why I get so angry when people take advantage of these people that are barely trying to make a living in their fucking life.
Our parents were immigrants. Your parents,
both of our parents were immigrants.
His parents, your parents, our parents, they came to this country.
Yes.
My parents bought a home back in 1994, and they were done wrong by a realtor. That is one of the reasons, like I mentioned in my last podcast with you, I got into this industry to make sure that never happens ever again, right? And that's why I love helping people like them, because to me, those are the transactions that will make a difference in people's lives. I love helping people like that. Yes, don't get me wrong. If you have a house you want to list, if you have a house you want to buy $1 million, I'll be more than happy to help. But those transactions to me are the ones that are meaningful, that I know that I'm giving back to the community, helping my Latino community achieve something they never thought was going to be possible. So that's the good, the bad, and the ugly of real estate.
I love that. And
we should try doing $1 million house one time. We should try doing $1 million house.
I'm like, what?
I mean, it'll be different. Because we can because you and I are very bougie people, and we like quality stuff.
You are bougie?
Very bougie.
I never knew that.
That February 2021 storm, Valentine's Day, really tested my bouginess. Because I had no power for 3 days.
Russ was in our dining room.
I love the cold. I was born in the cold. I was born in Czechoslovakia.
Oh my God.
I love the cold, but I hated that cold for 3 days. because you could always go back inside your house when it's cold outside.
Oh, we couldn't go anywhere.
We couldn't go anywhere, and we shifted our boys to your brother's house,
which thankfully they had
power,
they had
so
heater.
we got that. We got that.
We sent them over
but
there.
By unloading our boys and making sure they're okay, that's part of our bouginess because we don't know how to deal with that. We didn't know how to deal with two more people besides ourselves.
Oh
right?
No, we had to go into my son's truck, his Toyota, to warm up because we couldn't warm up anywhere else. But
we got sidetracked here. So my point is that every time we go to do an investment property, we always gravitate towards the better finishes.
Oh, yeah.
And then reality hits in 10 seconds later. So, well, that's not going to fit in the budget. Like the example, what I was telling Elmer today at the beginning before we come on the podcast, we picked this nice porcelain tile, but it's like $500-$600 more per slab than the quartz tile, right? Mm-hmm. But we're always gravitating towards the nice stuff. Even yesterday, you were looking at the backsplash, and you're like,
I know.
She was finding backsplash for $20 a foot.
But as an investment property, you have to keep in mind that you don't want to do flashy things because they might not sell within that neighborhood.
Yes, exactly. So we
have to be conscious about those things.
So we told.
Good tip.
I was telling Alicia that you always got to tone it down. It depends on the demographic.
Yes,
that's my point about the $1 million home. It'll be so much easier for us. We can go all bougie on that because that's all expected there. It'll make our lives a lot easier.
A mosquito repellent system, or what's it?
Yes, mosquito repellent system. Yeah.
No, you know what's bougie for me is if we can get the warm tile in the bathroom and you can walk on a tile that's warm. Oh my God.
She wants those towel warmers.
Oh, the warm tile. No, but the tile, the floor,
See, she goes to those nice hotels I take her to. Those Four Seasons, and they have that shit there.
And now she wants him on a flip.
And I want? No, I don't want him on a flip. I want him in my own house. But Russ is like, no, we've been at this house 22 years. We're not leaving here for 30. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
Is it time to upgrade, Russ?
No, once the boys are gone, they can stand their own 2 feet.
I've been trying to convince him forever.
We're out of here.
So it's not gonna happen. So I'm not
gonna
convince him, huh? Okay.
No, it's not gonna happen because that motherfucker is stubborn as hell. But I want those warm floors.
Is he stubborn?
Oh gosh.
God, no.
And I'm stubborn. He takes the cake. He's
immovable.
The worst.
You know what, though, guys? But I think you do guys make a good couple. I think you guys.
I don't know how that happens.
I think you guys balance. I think you guys balance each other out.
Alicia's cousin had very pointed words about 13 years ago at our 10-year anniversary party.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we don't talk to him anymore. But he was a great dude. I wish we talked to him because he was a great traveler with us. He was a well-to-do guy.
I love them.
And he had said that Alicia and Rusk are both hard-headed, stubborn, strong personalities. But in some way, they get along.
Yeah.
It didn't click to me until he said it. Yeah, we do get along. No.
Yeah.
One of us has to give in. And guess who? I'm the one that always gives in.
She needs to give in. I don't need to give in.
So Rusk always
has to give in. I'm the one that gives in.
He always has to win, huh?
Always has to win. Right. Always has to win. Anyways, thank you, Elmer, so much. Guys, if you are interested in selling or buying real estate, Elmer Garcia is your person to go to.
Yes, thank you guys for having me again.
It's been always awesome. A pleasure. It's been an amazing episode.
We always love people that talk a lot.
I don't talk at all. So
I ran out of wine today, but
it's okay.
There's a wine bar down the street.
You ran out of wine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think we're ending the podcast now.
Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate all of you. Thank you. Give us some feedback. Tell us what you're thinking. And then if you want to see anything else and listen to something else on the podcast, let us know. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Elmer.
Of course.